Lawin Media Network.
Bringing to you the most relevant content across all platforms.
Business, legal, politics, health, lifestyle, and entertainment.
Your source for all the news and updates in the greater Houston community, from Texas and all over the world.
Get informed and empowered with
Lawin Media Network.
The following program is produced by Lawin Media Network. The views and opinions expressed in this program are solely those of the individuals appearing on the show and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Lawin Media Network, its affiliates, sponsors, or partners. The content provided in this program is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. Lawin Media Network does not guarantee the accuracy, completeness, or timeliness of the information. All intellectual property rights related to this program, including but not limited to copyrights, trademarks, and other proprietary rights, are the property of Lawin Media Network or their respective owners. Unauthorized reproduction, distribution, or use of any content from this program is prohibited.
Hi, good evening. Magandang gabi, Pilipinas. Good evening, world.
Bienvenidos a este nuevo programa de
And welcome to our third episode of our show, Be Bold.
Why Not?
This is MJ,
And this is Atala.
and you are watching us live on Facebook Live and YouTube Live.
Stream.lawin.live.
And if you miss our live show, don't worry, because you can listen to our podcast we have a lot of that. Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Amazon Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, Deezer, Player Fun.
And not only that, MJ, you can also listen to us in Good Thoughts, Podcast Index, Stitcher, of course, Pandora, Podcast Addict, and Podcast Cast.
That is right. And of course, we would like to thank again Lawin Media Network for giving us this opportunity to be able to serve you all and, encouraging people and giving this life-changing opportunity for us.
Thank you, Media.
Yeah.
Lawin Media Network.
That's right. So Atala, how are you tonight?
I'm very happy to be here with you again. I think that when you're enjoying something, time just passed by so quickly. It's amazing. It seemed like it was yesterday when we were talking about challenges, right? Remember?
Yes.
From relationships. Now it's going to be a very interesting topic as well.
Oh, yes. It's probably one of my favorite topics. You know how moms are, right? They always love to talk about their children. But it's not all fun raising kids.
Which I think is an art, if you think about it.
Uh-huh.
I always think like we're like a sculptors. We're shaping the life of a loved one. Which is an opportunity in reality, but it's a challenge, of course.
Of course. But before the challenge, of course, there's that joy. The joy of expecting. Oh my God, do you remember?
Do you remember?
We have the same question. We didn't even talk about that, but we just like,
it was amazing.
Yes.
What I remember? That I had a false delivery, so I had to go back to the hospital again. And it was amazing, because those moments were like, you're looking forward, right? And when it was the right time, my ex-husband couldn't believe it, that we needed to go to the hospital. But it's amazing, those moments.
Oh, yes. Oh my gosh. From the very first moment or time that you feel something alive, in your womb, you just you get so excited, and there's nothing that compared to the joy of bearing a child.
Which in reality, you think about it, it's like a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
You're carrying this baby for 9 months. And suddenly it's like wow, I mean, how is that can be possible? You think about it.
Yes.
We take it sometimes like normal, but it's not normal. It's truly a miracle.
Yeah. So let me ask you, during your pregnancy, did you have any problems? Did you have any?
Honestly, I have a very healthy pregnancy. I used to walk and even sometimes run, so I didn't have any issue. Just at the very beginning, I felt a little bit sleepy, but it was just like, nothing major, no nausea, no like a cramps or nothing. It was really very healthy and a very healthy delivery and very healthy pregnancy as well. What about you?
Oh my goodness. Well, my first, it was the same thing. It wasn't as bad, but the usual signs and symptoms of getting through pregnancy, where you get nauseous, or they call it like morning sickness. You remember that? Like when you get out of bed, or if you smell something that just doesn't settle, it's like you get nauseous and you just feel good. Like, yeah, I had that. And you have dry heaving and all that kind of thing. I mean, it's terrible. But we pass that stage, then comes other problems or other physiological changes that you go through. So that's basically
too.
Oh yes.
Did you have any, by the way?
Yeah, well, it's been a long time. My oldest is like almost 25. So I think yes, we go through that stage where like we're scared. What, like, we're carrying this human being inside of us, and it's like we are anticipating very excitedly about the day that we're going to deliver them. But it's like, what about the responsibilities, all these things? So
can I tell you something? Honestly, I don't know, but I always thought that I learned to just take life as it comes, When I become a mom, I was just so happy that I was focused on the joy to just kind of be close to him, Like I remember I used to work in another, I used to have another job, and I used to kind of run, I wanted to just have it in my arms.
Oh my goodness.
Like that kind of feeling,
Oh
like,
yes.
It's amazing, that kind of connection that you have too.
Yeah, I can relate to that. That very, like, as soon as because I had C-section, so it's different, right? So as soon as they took my dear EJ, oh my son's, my dear EJ out of my womb, and they hand the baby to you, and you carry that child, what a feeling. It's like, I don't know, but it's a miracle. It's really a miracle. And then you're right. You go to work. It's like it's so hard for you to get out of the house, and it's like you just miss your baby. And no matter how your day is going at work, it's like when you see that baby, oh my gosh, like everything just.
You just remind me something. I would love to hear from you too. Your experience, but I remember that I was like breastfeeding, and I was like, even if I was exhausted, to me was like just that feeling, that connection, that bonding, erased everything. It kind of give me energy, and that's just like a very unique connection that we have.
Yes, of course, absolutely. But then, of course, especially when there's still a baby, it's so hard because they have to, like, different sleep cycles. So you have to be awake at night, and then they don't sleep regularly in the beginning. Did you go through that?
Yes, which is a challenge also, because I remember sometimes like you don't have straight sleep. So of course, next day is not the same energy. However, again, once that you embrace that gift of being a mother, I think that you have inner strength.
Yes.
You can do a lot of things. You're organizing, you're picking up things. So you become really multitask in many areas of your life. And then other challenges come. So do you remember any of those challenges? Once that you already have your children, what else?
Well, I think growing up, the thing is, now I can relate when it's about your kids. It's like, I feel bad because I remember when EJ was small, and he's a very good kid. Like, he doesn't fight with anybody, right? But I would just hear him crying, like out of the blue. I hear him from the neighbors, and he would cry, and I would go out there, and they're bullying him. So that's the thing. That's another thing that we go through, because when other kids bully your kids, you're not supposed to really go down to the level, right? But as a mom, it's like an instinct. So I tell the kids, if you wanna fight with a kid, like, it's like fight with a kid that is as as old as you, because EJ was little, and then there's this big girl who was like maybe 3 to 5 years older than him, and she would always make him cry. So I even have tried to talk to the parents and tell, yeah, I think that's a good approach though. Talk to the parents and just tell them, oh, I don't appreciate blah blah the name of your kid doing this to my son. So I think you should talk to your daughter or your son too. So
Yeah, it is
yeah.
important to talk to actually also to your kids, to give them the tools that they're gonna use in order for them to be able to just sometimes even ignore. Because again, kids are kids, right? And maybe sometimes they need a little bit more attention from their own parents. So that's why they are looking outside, They are trying to just kind of maybe sometimes be rude or, I mean, it's just really, I think it's based on the relationship that you build with your parents when you're a child,
Oh yeah, that's very
And
true.
the connection, the communication, the values, I mean, all things count because in that way they're gonna face challenge with different perspective also.
Yeah,
With
or
more tools.
that's right. Or sometimes if you don't have that good childhood experience, you try to improve it with your kids. So it could either be you're emulating your own parents if they raised you well and you got all the love and care that you had. But then for those people or kids that grew up in some dysfunctional families, it's a different ball game. It's a different scenario. But some parents, they take those challenges as a way to improve their parenting style.
So true.
Yes.
And I think that's what it's all about in real life. No
Yes.
matter the past, no matter the parents that we have, I always think that at that moment they have that was the awareness they have. So we cannot blame even our own parents for whatever they didn't do.
Yes.
Because we are responsible. We should become responsible in the present for our actions, for our attitude in life, just become responsible for your.
That's right. It's like we become better parents because of our experiences, because of the challenges that we've gone through growing up. We take those as inspiration, as motivation to become better parents. And that's what I went through a lot growing up, as a child. So I promised myself that my kids will not experience nothing close to what I've experienced as a kid. So that was my promise to myself. I have a question for you, Atala. Do you believe in there's all this developmental theories, right, for the child development and all that the child's personality is actually developed before the age of 5? Because there's a theory, I can't remember which theory that is.
Which is so true,
Yeah.
But to me, more than theories, I always thought like, what can I give to my son that he will use in the future? To me, it was always like I was focusing love. To me, love was fundamental, the way I treat him, in the word that I use. I was always very expressive, even until now. He's 22 now. And we developed a very strong connection. So love and always like being grateful for every little thing. Even now, Mary, let me just tell you this. I'm still praying with him. He called me mom, and we prayed together, which I love it because to me that's a relationship. I just leave the seed now in his heart, in his mind. And I think he approached life differently. Yes. So it's a lot of little things that I always have that kind of consciousness of this is what I wanted to lift and cultivate in my son's mind and heart.
Yeah, and that's true. First, it's the family experience. If they feel the nurturing love from their parents, they're gonna grow up as great kids no matter what. But also outside of the house or outside of the home, there's a lot of influences out there. So I think for me, I believe that a person's personality or behavior is true. There is a part of it that you learn as you grow or as in your family, but also it's influenced by other factors like the environment, your friends or peers or experiences in life. So it doesn't mean that to me, it's just my belief. of course, everybody has their own opinion
But
or
you are so
beliefs,
right,
but
you know,
yeah,
totally right,
yeah.
because now more than ever, you know, they have a lot of influence from outside.
Mhm.
I mean, how many hours a day they are spending on the phone, you know,
Mhm.
looking in the social media, comparing
Mhm.
themselves with others. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of things going on. I
Yeah.
think that it's very important to understand that we must develop a relationship with them.
Yes,
You know?
because wherever they go, if they have great relationship within the family, wherever they go, you know what my son always tells me, or my sons always tell me, don't worry about us, ma, because you raised us well.
That's a
Anyway,
compliment.
yes. Anyway, or my impacts, not just for me, it's for my husband too. Anyway, before we go on a break, we would like to encourage again our viewers, please give us any comments or questions, and we will try our best to answer them. And of course,
yeah, we want to congratulate also the winners for the last time. Yes, remember, one is Marta. Marta, thank you so much for your participation. And your gift is on its way.
Yeah, and Delia Ligot, I messaged you on your messenger. Please look into that message so we can send you your prize as well. Anyway, let's go for a quick break.
And we will come back right away.
Get ready for the ultimate showdown of tax debt battle. In one corner, we have the relentless tax resolutionist, armed with years of experience and an arsenal of strategies to take down even the toughest tax problems. And in the other corner, it's the IRS, known for its formidable regulations and strict enforcement. Watch as the tax resolutionist steps into the ring, armed not with gloves, but with an unbeatable knowledge of tax laws, negotiation tactics, and a determination to fight for your financial well-being. With each calculated move, they dodge and weave through complex tax codes, landing powerful punches of deductions and exemptions. As the match heats up, the tax resolutionist uses their unmatched skills to knock out the IRS's demands, one by one. With precision and expertise, they navigate the ring of audits and penalties, delivering blows of compromise and settlement that leave the IRS reeling. In this nail-biting match, it's not about physical strength, but about mental prowess and strategic thinking. The tax resolutionist's dedication to their clients is evident as they fight tooth and nail for a knockout victory against the IRS, securing financial freedom and peace of mind. Witness the triumph of knowledge over intimidation, experience over bureaucracy, and innovation over convention. When you're facing a tax challenge that seems insurmountable, trust the tax resolutionist to step into the ring and deliver a knockout blow to your tax troubles.
Yes. We're back.
We were discussing a little bit here.
Yes, but we're live, so you caught us. So anyway, yeah, we're back again. And actually, I love this part. Aren't you excited?
It is, you know, it's like
Yeah.
every program it comes just like a food for your soul, you know, for our soul. And I'm hoping that for you also, that you're watching us right now.
Yes, and we both are excited for this second section of the show because we're gonna bring in
two special guests.
Very special guests. So we're talking like mothers. Yeah, you know how mothers are, right? Yeah. So we're not gonna stop talking about it.
Who are the special guests, MJ?
Well, we're gonna have your son and my daughter tonight. Yes. So
and you know what? Honestly, I cannot express how special it is because to me, I become a mom and dad in many ways. So he means the world for me, and his support has been always there. So today is a very special program for me.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna call in my daughter first, though. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Is she on now? All right. Let's see where Mara.
Hi.
There she is. Hi.
Hi, so nice to see you, and thank you you are a special guest for sure, you know.
Oh, nice. Thank you for having.
Oops. Okay. Yeah, we're losing you, baby.
Oh no.
Okay, there you go. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Thank you for joining us tonight. Yeah, short notice. Do you have a question for her, Atala?
Yes.
Are you ready?
Of course, they are always ready, right? Mara, what was one of the challenges for you that you really say, you know, this was a challenge for me once I was I don't know, maybe, like growing up, and maybe something that you embrace with your mom and you just feel like she really helped you to go through. What could be that challenge?
I would say that like ever since I started dance, I feel like my or I didn't fulfill my childhood correctly because I would, come home late from dance and still have to do my work. And I feel like it really took a toll on me.
Hmm.
Like I wasn't getting as much sleep as like other kids and stuff. But luckily my parents were there, and especially my she was there to take care of me. And like she was the one that always kept me on my on my if I like fell down or whatever. Because she's very, very cool and very caring, and she's very, very loving.
Beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Are you sure? No, I'm just
Beautiful.
kidding.
I can understand that because it's a lot of discipline. It's discipline for you, discipline for your mom, to be there in every single training, and I'm sure competitions, traveling, waking up early in the morning, going to bed really late, doing homework. I can truly understand that.
Oh yes, this girl is I don't know how she does it. I really don't know. I mean, she literally is awake probably more than 16 hours a day. Like she gets up like early in the morning before 7 because she has to be in school, and then when she's in music, she's also in musicals. So when they're rehearsing, she'd be in school up till 7 o'clock, and then she still wants to go to dance. I was like, what?
That's true passion, that's a
Yeah.
purpose. Yes.
Yeah. So how do you juggle with your activities, with how busy you are?
I'm right now, I still struggle with it. I'm not gonna lie, but I've gotten way better at it ever since high school started because before then, during COVID, I kind of got in a space where I was very disorganized and everything became very, very stressful because I care about school as we were just at home doing nothing in bed. But ever since high school, I feel like I've gotten much better at time. So what I try to do is put everything on a to-do list, and it doesn't even have to be micro organization because sometimes when you like micro organize too much, it gets really stressful, and it's like you have to be on a certain schedule. But I learned from a teacher of mine where if you just set a start time but not an end time, it'll encourage you, and you won't even it doesn't give you a set time on what to do, so you're not dreading I have to study for 2 hours, but instead I start studying at 5 and then just go on from there. And I also just putting everything in a planner and reminding myself that I got this, but also keeping or putting myself first because last year I took a lot of days off from school because my immune system became very weak because there was not enough of me to go around to do all of my put myself first so I can stay.
That's beautiful what you say because
Yeah.
it's practicing self-love. And we cannot give to others when not giving to ourselves. And
Yes.
especially when you're doing a lot of activities, like a dancing, singing, school.
Yes.
I mean, it's a lot. It's like a work, and sometimes even not just 8 hours, 12 hours, 16 hours. So you have to really take care of yourself.
Yeah, wow. I mean,
Yes.
I'm impressed. I mean, she's answering the questions really good.
Well,
Yeah, and I think you're gonna slay college, right? Because you already have been trained all your life to work so hard. And I remember,
you
yeah,
develop the skills
yeah,
that actually you're going to need to be able to simplify your life in college. Or
yes,
just in life, period.
yes,
There are very good habits, healthy habits that
yeah,
sometimes we learn when we're older. So
yes.
congratulations, very well done.
I know. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. You're doing so well, and you're expressing yourself so well too. Yes, yes. So, uh, last question. What's an interesting challenge that you kind of mentioned, kind of make us laugh? What do you think? What challenge do you think can make us laugh?
School, I have to deal with a lot of boys, whether whether they're annoying or not. it's very, I don't know. Boys
So
are
how
just
do you, so how do you deal with that challenge? How do you deal with all these guys that they are trying to call you and
I don't really care about. I just like put them off to the side because I have better things to focus on.
Very good. Very, you keep it that way, okay? I always tell her, yeah, if boys like you, it's okay as long as you don't like them. That's what I tell her. Anyway, we're gonna get you back when we talk to Marcus, okay? So don't leave. Stay there. We'll
thank
call
you
you
so
back
much.
in. Thank you so much. Love you. Oh my
It's
gosh.
so nice to just kind of listen to her, you know.
Yes.
So wise.
I know. It's like I learned a lot from her. Just
Of course, they
yeah,
teach us
she's
as well,
yes,
you know?
yes. They can teach us too. It's you know we our kids. It doesn't mean that because we're parents, we're the ones that they can learn from. Only learn from. Of course, we learn from them as well. So we're gonna go on a break first before we get Marcus in. So let's go for another break. Oh, we're back. We're back. No, we're not gonna go on a break after. Oh, we're gonna go on a break after Marcus time. Okay, so we're gonna get Marcus. Sorry about that, but anyway, let's get Marcus
Hey, boy, I
in.
can't believe
How
that
you
you
doing?
will be here. So nice
¿Cómo
to
estás,
see
ma?
you.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I just got done with class not too long ago.
I
So,
know, no worries.
Hi,
I actually
Marcus.
how
thank
you
you.
doing, MJ?
Thank you, because I know that you were like in classes, you know, you took
Yeah,
a
no
shower,
worries.
you were rushing, and I
All
just really
good.
appreciate that you're here
Of
right now.
course.
Welcome.
Right.
Yes, it's good to have you.
Thank
It's
you.
good
Thank you
to
for
have
having
you.
me.
You know what? We're so excited. We're just giggling here because we're talking to our kids. So
Yes, ma'am.
Look at my kid. Look at my kid. Say, hey,
I
don't
know.
shave. I always like, please shave. Take away some years.
you're handsome. Don't worry. Okay, you're good
Thank you.
looking.
Appreciate
But
it. Thank you.
anyway,
Thank you.
it's your time to be put on the spot. Like
Okay,
that.
I'm ready. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I know you're going through college, right?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Right now. Yeah, I
Oh,
study
that's good.
international business, and it's been good so far. Just starting new semester.
Okay, so tell us, what are the biggest challenges that you are experiencing as a college student?
Um, It would probably. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. When I first got here, because I studied abroad, I studied in Mexico. At first, it was just kind of like I was really excited, but it all hit me at once that I'm really in a different country all by myself. So at
Mm-hmm.
first, I really got homesick.
Oh,
I miss my
yeah.
mom, my dad, my sister. What's been kind of hurting me the most right now is my little sister, Kennedy. She's 9. So I feel
Mhm,
like since I'm away, I'm kind of like missing like a big part of her life right now. Because I mean, she's a kid. She's growing up is her childhood and I'm like not there. But I kind of
mhm,
see it, I take it as like I'm making a sacrifice right now to, get my education, in the future be
mhm,
able to help her. And, in my plan, when I graduate and everything, I'm gonna be back in the States when she's entering high school. So, I'll be able to lead her through that, path, any transition. And yeah,
mhm,
so right now I feel it's been good. I mean, I've like it's been a while since I felt homesick. I feel like for me, Mexico's my new home. My friends been there for me the whole time. I also have family not too far away from where I study at, so it's been a good experience right
mhm.
now. But at first, it would be the feeling homesick and just missing like everything back home. Yeah.
That's,
Aw.
I love what you say, because it's important. He always grew up
Mhm,
with that kind of, I want to be the best brother for my
Yeah.
sisters, which I,
mhm,
I love that, because
mhm,
it's about being caring, being loving, sharing all those things. But I wanted to also share, maybe like, what were the struggles that you face, like culturally? I remember sometimes say, Mom,
Oh,
I mean, people say, I want to see you, and then nothing happened. So what are those kind of cultural challenges that you face?
culturally, I mean, I would probably say the language barrier for me the most. I mean, I speak Spanish, I speak it pretty good, but I only really spoke it with my mom and my family in Mexico. So when I got to college, I had like I could understand it, but basic things, in classes it was Spanish, but at a university level. So I would always have Google Translate open on my laptop, and as soon as I would kind of like feel stressed because like I would try to like translate it while trying to listen and take notes, and that was like the biggest thing for me. But I mean, in general, like the Latin people, the Latin community is they're very nice. I like the way they see life. They see life, they don't have to have everything in the world. They can have just a little bit, but for them, it's the relationships they have with their friends, with their family, was what makes them happy and makes them enjoy life. So that's something I've really been cherishing, and which I learned at a very young age, thanks to my mom and my family here as well. So I mean, it hasn't been too much of a problem, but just probably like the language barrier and like adjusting to that. That's probably like the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, and you're all really smart. You learn pretty quick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, haven't heard me. Yeah, I learned a couple things.
You are like, yeah, you are all like self-taught,
Thank you.
really, really good kids.
But can I tell you something? Tell me a little bit. Now I remember that I was always pushing you, like learn languages and geography and this and that. So this is funny, but what to share when you were little that I bought some kind of curtains.
Oh my god. Okay, so like thankfully, like, and I love my mom for this, but like I've been blessed at a very young age to be able to travel the world. I've been all over Europe, all over the world at a very young age. My first like international trip that wasn't Mexico was we went to Paris at 9 years old, and that was a blessing for me. But my mom always wanted me to know my geography, so literally she bought me a curtain for my shower that was a world map, and she would like quiz me after every shower, like, where's this place at? Where's that place at? And I had to answer. So that was a struggle, but I enjoyed it. At a young age, mom also taught me a bunch of languages. I used to kind of get confused though, because like I would speak Spanish and out of nowhere transition to Italian without even knowing, because like I didn't dominate one language properly, so it was just a lot of my but I mean, it's a blessing, I can understand it. I speak pretty good, and yeah, it's been cool.
Wow, you know what? You are a combination of two of my boys.
Thank you.
My oldest is really a big brother. Like he thinks of his siblings a lot. Like he is like Mara even sometimes like goes to him for like big fatherly advice, although he's not a father yet. Plus, my second one is also into languages. So see, Marcus is a combination of my. So you are rolled. My voice rolled into you.
Okay, cool. That's perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah, that's amazing. But you know what? What are your plans for your career then? Like, as soon as you get finished with college?
Yeah, so I'm right now. I'm getting my undergrad in international business, and I'm also doing my master's as well. So it's gonna be an extra 2 years. So my master's, I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do. Maybe something with marketing, or maybe something with programming as well. And after, I would like to go work, in a different country. I don't really want to go back to the States yet. I want to, find my options, meet people, make relationships, connections. Because I feel like the most important thing about college in general, I mean, for your daughter as well, that she's going to enter college soon. I mean, of course, it's the class and stuff like that, but it's the people you meet, because the people you meet is going to open the doors open for you in the future. And, that can help in business plans and anything. So just work in a different country. I would like to do something like my dad, he did medical sales for a long time, and he always told me that if you're going to work in something, make sure it's something that's going to always be in demand. Medicine, my mom also works in the medical field. Medicine is always in demand. So, make sure you pursue something that, is never going to like go away. So if I could be a medical sales, start off there, maybe then, get experience, make connections, and then branch off to, my own business. So, I'm still thinking, still planning, but, I have a little, path to follow.
Well, that's good because you have your goals, and then it gives you direction, and that's really good because not all kids
Can I tell you something?
have that kind of thinking.
When he was little, he write it down. I'm going to go to Mexico University, and I wanted. He wrote a letter, and I remember that letter. I said, "My goodness! I mean, it's like pretty close to what is happening in his life."
Wow.
Those kind of vision things to visualize things and pray about it and say it's amazing what your vision can take you.
Yes, and we are blessed to have kids like you. So anyway, Marcus, we're gonna get you and Mara back after the break. So please don't leave,
I'll be right here. No worries.
Yeah. We'll see you in a minute. Yeah, we'll see you later. Okay, we'll pause. Yeah, we'll pause for a break. Thank you.
Of course.
Hi, welcome
Back.
back. We're back, and we're gonna get Mara and Marcus.
Marcus.
Marcus back in the show. There they are.
Here we
Hi,
go.
Mara.
You know, I can see that both of you have something very similar. Like it's also the discipline, you know.
Yes.
Like Mara is in dancing and also singing and wake up early in the morning, go to bed late to go into school. And also Marcus has to have that discipline for football because he plays football all his life. So sometimes I remember I was at 6 o'clock in the morning already, going to take him to the school, you know, but everything kind of was able to be synchronized. Say thank God, because I was always rushing here and there. But everything has a purpose also.
Yes, yes, and you know it's not easy, you know, especially if your kids have a lot of activities. Oh man, you don't want to miss any of these activities, but sometimes you just have to because you can't be in so many places at the same time, right? But you know what I always say when I go to Mara's activities on the weekends, like competitions, conventions, or watch her shows and all that, it's therapeutic to me. It's therapeutic. I just love it. I don't know. I just love it. I don't care. I'm tired. It doesn't matter. You know, if you're doing it for your child, I mean, it's like it's nothing.
It's worth it. And
Yeah.
they will always remember that because the time that you're spending with them is quality time, you know. One day they're gonna become a mom, a dad, and also they're gonna do the same thing. So that's a really like a fitting into your son's life, you know, deposit the right elements, confidence, trust, you know, like encouragement, all those things that they are necessary in every single day of your life.
Yes. So before we say bye bye to these two wonderful kids, may we ask you what do you think are the biggest or most important things that you have learned from your parents growing up?
Oh yeah,
That's a very good question.
Yeah, let's go with
she can go
who.
first.
You want to listen to you first, huh?
So Mara, you go first. Marcus said you first.
He's a gentleman.
Um, I would say the biggest thing that I learned from both my mom and my dad was definitely like I don't know, wherever I was with them, like it felt like home. Like if like it wasn't because I was away or just them in general, they feel like home to me. Like I don't have to be home in order to feel like it is home because I'm with them. Like they're very caring and stuff, so they bring home to wherever we are. And I just want to do that with like to my future family if I ever have one.
Thank you.
That's a beautiful answer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because they say that we are always gonna be their home. Wow, that's amazing.
Did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
Did you know?
Yes. Yeah. They kind of like, yeah. They're all the same. All the my three kids, they have like they think the same. They're like they all are caring and they pretty much and they even talk to each other and trying to plan for surprises and all that. They do it together. So it's not a surprise to me that she's saying that because her older brothers too say the same thing. Yeah. What about you, Marcus?
For me, I mean, I'll say easy is like just been the sacrifices that my parents have made. I mean, to start out with my mom, I mean, my mom came, so, when my parents got divorced, I was in Mexico from 2 to 5, and then I went back to the States. And my mom, she left her, I mean, for her, family is everything. And I mean, family, including me, but also, her relationship with her parents, her sisters, everything. She left Mexico with 2 luggages. That's it, barely any money. And, she started her life for me here in Houston, And I remember specifically, like, I had some friends from school and I wanted to like hang out, like invite them to our new apartment stuff. And we didn't have any furniture, like we didn't have anything. Literally, it was just carpet and that was it. And my mom was worried, like, well, what are they gonna say? What they gonna do? Da, 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 da. And literally, we had like the best time. We enjoyed our, like, just playing, our company. I mean, from everything from like my mom said, my training. I remember when I used to be in band, I used to play the clarinet. I remember once I had forgotten like some pants that so it was like, oh, you had to be in uniform and stuff. And it was like literally like 30 minutes, 45 minutes to my show, and I didn't have my pants and I was stressing, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna and my mom was like, don't worry, like, she's always solved every problem. It's like, don't worry, we're gonna find a way. And like she let me borrow some. I mean, it looked a little funny, but I mean, it was better than nothing, you know. So that, and I mean, same with my dad. You know, my dad, since I was a kid, I mean, my dad played football. You know, I learned it from him. I went to play as a, I played at 9. I went to play younger, but he didn't let me till 9. But I mean, he's always been my coach. You know, my dream has always been to, get a scholarship. I didn't want to, let my parents pay for school. Like it was like my dream as a kid, and he led me to that dream. So be able to do that for my mom and my dad. So my dad was always on time to my practices. He would come to my like in 3rd, 4th grade. We would have lunch. He would come to my school lunch, eat with me. I remember once he bought ice cream for my whole classroom. I mean, he would be at the field days. He would volunteer, be chaperone. I mean, he always had a really good relationship with me, and it was nice. So that's something I really look up to my parents, and I really appreciate that because I mean, formed me to the person I am today. So yeah.
Wow,
Thank
we
you.
have very good answers. You two we're just blessed.
Thank you.
We're just really
It is
blessed.
so true, and I
Yeah.
always thought, everybody has that
Mhm.
relationship, and we must cherish, and we must cultivate because it's a blessing. It's truly a blessing.
Yeah, and you know what? Parenting is really challenging, but you make parenting for us really easy
Thank you.
because you are very good kids. And we are just so happy because not every parent probably can say such words for
So
their
true.
kids, but for all the parents out there, I mean, it's the love. It's the love and nurturing that you give your children that will always go with them.
Yes, I think
Yes, always
that's
go
the
with
most
them.
important seed. You
Yes.
plant that seed of love. Love
Mhm.
is energy, cultivates. It changes your perspective. It's just kind of bond. I mean, create better relationships and connections.
Yes, that's very true. So anyway, we thank you so much, Marcus and Mara,
Thank you
the
for having me.
Eminem. They're
Thank
Eminem.
you for the time. Thank you for being so honest and your heart. Because we're
Yeah.
always learning from both of you.
Thank you.
I will say that.
Yes, yes, we appreciate you both, and you'll have a good rest of your night, and we'll see you later.
Bye.
Yeah. Okay.
You.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
We
We
love
love
you,
you.
and we will like. What a nice
Oh,
time,
I
It's just,
know. Yes.
yes, and we want to encourage any comments, any question that you may have. Just please free to just share with us. We will be happy to address any question that maybe you are just wanted to share at this moment.
Yes, and of course we're gonna have, and again, just like what we did last time, we're gonna have questions based on our conversations or based on Mara and Marcus' answers, maybe. So whoever the viewer that can answer them correctly will again win a prize. So come on, we need your participation.
Just like it is interesting because I believe that like when you're listening to them, you can see how they were raised, the education, the values, which is not easy, honestly. Sometimes I have friends that they say, how do you do it? How do you were able to have that kind of connection with Marcus? They know he was little and say, I believe in connection, I believe in communication, and to always be, I mean, close to them or to him, because even though he could be 22, communication is a key. You can never ignore that. So
Yeah, it's true. Communication also is important. And I've also been like, you hear from other parents whenever you talk to them. Of course, we have friends and family and other people that we come across with that you sometimes you share about your ideas about parenting. And I've always heard that, when you are dealing with your kids, you have to pick your battle, right? You have to pick your battle. Like, not every time that they make a mistake, you have to make it a big deal.
that's true.
Yes.
That's so true.
Yes.
Sometimes you just have to really kind of say, okay, I was in their shoes, in his shoes, So you cannot be like, no, ignore that fact because again, it's about connection. It's about, understanding his feelings, his emotion in this case, like he's now in 22 years old. I was in his shoes. I was abroad also. I was in the same school. So I know a lot of the journey that he's experiencing. Although believe it or not, it's different the generations.
Oh, yes, there's a big generation gap, but we just have to understand that as well. Because I think a lot of times parents, they are so set on this is the right thing. It's like some parents like are black and white. I grew up like this, then you need to listen to me. But no,
No anymore. I don't
yeah,
believe
not
so.
anymore. We gotta adapt to the changes. We gotta consider and respect the generation gap, because the ways before may not work. Yeah,
No.
they don't work now, but we just
Absolutely.
have to give credit for our kids too, because it's not that they're not listening, it's not that they don't want to follow you, but look at what are their involvements they have. And it's
also
like they're
I've
working so hard, and then we expect them to still do a lot of things outside of what they're doing, and it's like it's a pressure for them.
But
So
also, I
yeah.
think that sometimes it's about knowing what are their talents,
Mhm.
what are their skills, about praising them, but praising them truly from your heart.
Mhm.
And also something important I noticed, like many parents, in these days, they disconnect from their kids
Mhm.
because now it's like everything is so independent, like you do your own thing, you go to your room, you spend 10 hours with your friends and with the device, the telephone. That's not necessarily healthy because that's what is becoming a lot of problems. I have seen that.
Mhm.
I'm coaching sometimes teenagers, and that's what I say. I would love to have a better connection with my parents, but I don't have that.
Mhm.
So they are also craving for that.
Yeah, and that's why that's one reason a lot of them are doing these other, distractions. They're into them because their parents are not there.
Mhm.
They're not present. We always say, "Oh, I'm busy with this and that," and then sometimes we neglect our kids.
That's right.
And we expect them to spend time with us, but we are not spending time
And
with
you know
them.
what? Another important
Yes.
thing. Sometimes when kids come to their parents and they have a question, they need something. Parents say, "I can't. I'm busy. I'm working. I'm sorry." But if you are a parent and if your kid come to you, try to make the effort to be present because that's very important for them. Believe it or not, they become that. They start creating that kind of idea. Say, "No, I'm not going to ask my mom or my dad because they're always busy." So you start, like
And then they're
rejecting them.
yes.
And that creates a feeling of frustration, believe it or not.
And
And that's
then-
very important.
Yeah, and that's when they start to like kind of go away. I mean, like depart from, and I think we're gonna ask our questions now for our viewers.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. What was Mara's question? Okay. Oh, Marcus first. What does okay, I'm gonna read Marcus. Okay, what does Marcus enjoy doing in his spare time?
Did he answer?
Did he answer?
I can tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what does he do during his spare time?
Practically, he loves, of course, always he's playing sports, football. He loves traveling, spend time with friends, with family. He likes to explore new places actually now in Mexico.
Yeah, so that's gonna be your question to whoever is listening. All right. So
now let's go for the question number 2.
Yeah, a question for Mara.
Okay, what is the biggest challenge Mara is going through in high school?
Yeah, well, I think she answered that. If you listen to her, she probably gave you some clues. So, yeah, you better, whoever is the winner, or whoever can answer the question among our viewers, you'll be the winner, right? So, again, oh, wow. We're
Time
almost
is
like,
flying.
yeah,
Yes.
time is flying so fast because we have a very interesting topic tonight. Plus, getting our kids in here actually made the show even better. So
Very
I think,
special.
yeah, very, very special. So I think we're gonna go for another short break, right?
And we will just right back.
Okay.
Lawin Media Network.
Bringing to you the most relevant content across all platforms.
Business, legal, politics, health, lifestyle, and entertainment.
Your source for all the news and updates in the greater Houston community, from Texas and all over the world.
Get informed and empowered with
Lawin Media Network.
All right, we're back. We're back. And Atala, how are you enjoying our show
I
so
really
far?
enjoyed it. I think it's a very unique program. I think that I was very happy to see my son, to listen to your daughter. You know, she's very like so mature for her age. She's
Yeah.
developing skills that I'm sure that it's going to use in her life. And I think that's a blessing, honestly. I mean, the more that I love to, listen to, I mean, not just children, young adults. I love to listen to this new generation because they are so smart. They are brilliant, but they also need direction. Sometimes they want things too easy, and you need to direct them.
And I think that's one. I think that is one of the many challenges of being a parent, because we feel that we have the authority and that we should be heard, but sometimes we stop our kids from expressing themselves. So that's when the relationship becomes
You
disconnected.
just say something so
Yeah.
important.
Yes.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I always remember I told Marcus, you have a voice. You always need to speak out. Even though maybe sometimes, you can feel intimidated, you have a voice that somebody maybe need to hear, your point of view, your ideas. And it could be also your mom, your dad, but always with respect. And that's very important because, sometimes I have learned that kids, they have so many things, so many feelings and emotions and thoughts that they need to share, but they have been quiet for a long time. So they don't feel like they have something important to share, which is not true. Everybody has something to share.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's also because some parents, we think that when our kids are voicing out their concerns, that they're actually like answering back, but that's not really the case. They're just, that's not really the case. And I guess a lot of parents are guilty about that, including probably me sometimes, because we're not perfect. We're not perfect, but we just have to realize that our kids, I mean, they have their own minds, they have their own, voices and all that. We just need to listen to them, because listening to them actually gives an avenue for a better relationship with your kids. And you get to know what's going on with your kids. You'd rather your kids talk to you than they talk to other people.
Yes, and that doesn't mean that you have to be agree with everything. But remember, they are also learning, they're growing, they're exploring, but that's okay, Sometimes we are expecting that they're gonna read our minds. They're never gonna read our minds. We can be there, we can provide, teach them values, education, all those things, but they are unique. So we need to be able to really understand that.
And respect that.
Yes.
They are unique individuals.
Yes.
They have their own views, they have their own thoughts, they have their own desires, their plans. And I think one thing too that parents are kind of not good at sometimes is like we tend to force them into things like their career. Like, I know it's very common, right? For some parents, what do you want to do? What do you want to be when you grow up? Oh, my parents want me to be a nurse.
I have a different perspective of that, but it's true when you say, I always think that they are free. When a person is free, they are able to use their own talents, skills, knowledge, experiences, you name it, and they're going to feel more confident to face any tribulation, to kind of change jobs if they wanted. They're going to be prepared for welcome those challenges in their lives.
Yes, and there was a point in my son's life, my oldest, EJ, out of college, he's a musician. I mean, he plays all kinds of instruments. He plays guitar, he plays drums, clarinet. He composes music and all that. We knew from the get-go that he loves music. So he tried to start something during college. But then it was like, I'm a nurse, so it's like, why don't you try nursing? And he's like, he told me he tried his best. So I'm guilty of that. That's why I learned, and that's why I'm giving this advice to parents. Okay, let your children pick the career or the course that they want to take on, because now I realize as long as they're happy, no matter what kind of job it is, his career success is not all about making big bucks.
And also
Yeah,
success is different for every person,
yes,
you know?
it's
So
if
that's
they're,
another thing.
yeah.
And as soon as they are happy, as soon as they are doing their best, you know, as soon as they
Mhm.
are being present in their jobs, is important.
Yes.
Happiness comes in many different ways, and we
Mhm.
must also understand that we
Mhm.
can never force another human being, not even our own kids, to do something, because when you force somebody, there is a confrontation, reaction, rejection as well.
Yeah, sometimes I still struggle to that because, you know, Mara is like, we just want to show her off sometimes, that we try to ask her to perform even if she doesn't want
No more.
sometimes, right? But it's just being a parent. Like, you just want your child or your kid to use their talent, something like that. But I'm learning all these things. Nobody's perfect, and
It's
she's
true.
our baby. So it's like we're so focused into her because
You
the
know,
boys are not in the house anymore.
it is
So
interesting because
yeah.
sometimes I mentioned to you that I like to design also, you know, like jewelry. And I remember I used to do that with my son, but you know what? I did it because it was a bonding time for me. Just the fact to be able to communicate, to see his ideas, all those things, to me was a very precious time. And I always was like, you know, you should design this. You can have this kind of line, you know, for young people. But he said, Mom, I'm here with you because I know it's important for you. And I know because you like to communicate, but that's not something that I really would love to do in the future. So I say, it's so true. You know, you have to respect that. You have to see his talents and you have to encourage them.
And support.
Always with love. Exactly.
Yeah, and support. So we're going to repeat our questions. Okay. So for Marcus, what does he do during his spare time? All right. So anybody watching out there, if you know the answer, just type it in the comments and we will announce the winners at the end of the show. Yeah. What about Mara's?
Mara is what is the biggest challenge Mara is going through in high school?
Okay.
So if you remember, this is your time to participate.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll have winners. Hopefully we'll have winners. If not, then
we will contact the winners anyway. That's for sure.
Yeah. So make sure you put your answers in the comment. Anyway, Atala, so what have you learned tonight, or what can we say to our viewers tonight, especially those parents out there that are watching or are listening?
I will say that always make sure you spend time with your kids. Kids, you know, adults, young teenagers, and never taken for granted the opportunity when you have to be with them. Be present. Make the time to listen to them, you know, because that's important. Create memories that last forever. That's something that I will always encourage people. And also, always show love to them. Talk to them in love and with respect, because I think both are very important ingredients in life, and they will learn from them. And another thing I would say, like as a parent, we have challenges, yes, but that's a blessing. You are shaping the life of a loved one. Think like as a sculpture. What a beautiful, you know, piece of art. I mean, like you're shaping a life of somebody else. So I would say the positive love, you know, that communication must be taking place on a daily basis if it's possible. And also something else, pray with them. That's, I will not tell you how many blessings can it bring into your life and the life of your son, daughter as well.
Yes, and I just want to piggyback Atala, what she said. You know, love your children unconditionally. You know, you have to love them unconditionally and allow them to make mistakes, not because you don't love them, but you know, mistakes make them stronger and better people. Nobody in this world exists without making any mistakes. Sometimes we are too protective of our kids, of our children, because we're scared that they're gonna fall. But you know, every time these kids fall, they're gonna learn to get back up. And that's the only way that they're gonna learn to get back up, because they fell. It's okay for them to fall sometimes, to make mistakes. But we should always be open to embrace them and hug them and welcome them no matter what mistakes they make. Because that is unconditional love. Nothing can compare to a parent's love to their kids. And you know, if you do that to your children, no matter where they go, no matter what part of the world they travel to or they end up going, they're always going to remember that, and they're going to learn from that, and they're going to do that to their own children. So loving our kids unconditionally and allowing them to make mistakes, but guiding them.
Not criticize them.
Not criticizing them.
Yes.
Not criticizing is not going to do any good. It's not going to do any good to our kids. We just are so, I know sometimes we say that because we love them, that we try to protect them so much, but then sometimes overprotecting will hurt. Yeah, will hurt them.
You know, because you take away their, sometimes that kind of self-esteem, also that encouragement, you know, like say, I can do this. No, sometimes they will always wait for you to support them. No, they are building their character, their personality. So that's important to let them be.
Yes, yes. So for our questions tonight, actually, if you have not put in your answers, you can put your answers to our Facebook page, right? You can answer it in the page. If you are, say, for example, if you watch our replay, because it's going to be there once we end the show, you're still going to be able to watch it, and you can send the answers, and we will just announce our winners on Monday.
That will be wonderful.
Yes, on our next show. But for our next show, we're going to have a really interesting topic too. So let's see our video for our next show. Yes, I know.
A lot of people will relate with this program as well.
That's right. Oh yeah, yes. We are going to be able to relate to that. So
we have been in their shoes.
Yes, please join us on Monday again. Okay. Well, it's been a great night, and we have enjoyed.
Yeah. Remember to connect with us if you missed the show today in YouTube Live, Facebook Live, and
stream that live. If you missed that, you can listen to our podcasts. Okay. So every Monday, 7 p.m., join us again here at Be Bold.
Why not?
See you.
Bye-bye, and have a wonderful evening.
All right. Good night, everyone.